Coming out of some local music, Slap Your Savior, the name of that one, Echoes of Petra, right here on Rhode Island Free Radio, online at rifreeradio.org. Tony Jones here, joined by my old pal, the PO taxpayer, Pat Ford, if you can believe it, rolling into over 3 hours of local coverage, gavel to gavel today of the Rhode Island Cannabis Convention. Of course, yesterday, broadcasted live all day for you, and if you missed it, it's in podcast form, rhodeislandfreeradio.org. And unfortunately, we do have to head towards wrapping things up today. We need to get the PO taxpayer back into the crypt, and we need to preserve him for 1 week's time so he can broadcast again next weekend.
We at this point, we started broadcasting yesterday. We've been on some form of media for, 12 out of the last 18 hours? So, our next guest will hopefully forgive us if, in fact, we're starting to break down a little bit here. I think you're going to find me in the fetal position underneath the desk after this. Because on one hand, this whole event is such a tease. So much fun. And so close, yet so far away.
I got to say, we have covered more in this weekend of real issues and some of the best guests that have come through than the mainstream media has covered probably in years of time in their attempts of covering cannabis, and especially on the medical side. You sometimes will get a little bit of a soundbite in there, but you're not going to hear anybody else having a long-form conversation with Regulate Rhode Island or the Thomas Slater Center or the Canacare docs that were just here. You're not going to see that anywhere else.
Well, and the problem is our leaders, our alleged leaders, would rather hide. They would rather hide behind the issue and spew out some psychobabble as opposed to taking what is clearly a very important and necessary step towards pushing this industry forward. Everything that's happened in Massachusetts and to whatever's happened in Rhode Island, our quote-unquote leaders have had to be dragged kicking and screaming along the entire way.
And I literally laughed out loud when the gentleman from Canacare Docs that was here told us that Rhode Island still uses a paper form, while in Massachusetts they're uploading all of that information online. And once again, we see with their Seekonk location, kind of as Rhode Island's in the economic doldrums, the buildup of those businesses right on the Rhode Island border. Right. And from experience.
Yeah, as usual. I mean, help is just a few miles away. Better schools, better taxes, a more intelligent approach to medical support and healthcare in general is just merely a few miles away.
Right.
So in saying that, I'd like to welcome our next guest in the time we have left. I'm sitting with Ellen Brown and Mike Whitaker. Now, Ellen, you're with the New England Grassroots Institute.
Yes.
All right, and you're one of the instructors. And Mike, okay, why don't you just bring the mic right up?
I'm also with them as well. I teach the law class for them.
Okay, great. So tell us then about the New England Grassroots Institute, where you're located, how long you've been in existence, and what approach you're taking to education.
So New England Grassroots Institute is the first cannabis education center in all of New England. We were established in October of 2012. We opened our doors the week the Question 3 passed. And we started in a one-room facility with 12 students, and now we have an entire downstairs facility, and we've graduated over 1,000 students. We're located at 1456 Hancock Street in Quincy. You can check us out at grassroot420.com. And our goal is to inspire students to find out what they want to do in the cannabis community and run with it. We want to get people connected. We want to build community through activism. So we love when our students come in and they have a passion, and they want to take that passion and then they want to find a way to combine that with cannabis and run with it. Like if you wanted to maybe become a caregiver, or if you find that you wanted to cultivate your own medicine for yourself, or if you wanted to learn how to make edibles, or we have other people who just want to make solves or computer design, but they want to work with cannabis, or they're a 420 realtor and they want to figure out where can they go, where could they put their business cards. So we're really about networking, helping people find their niche.
Great. Now, in terms of, okay, Mike, talk about what you do for the Institute.
So I teach the law class. I go through all of New England law for the school. Through our 8-week course that we offer, one of the classes is law. We feel that it's a very big subject in this field, especially how it differs from state to state, and right. What you can do in one you can't do in the other.
Now, what are both of your backgrounds? How did you arrive in the business?
Well, 2 weeks after I graduated high school, I joined the Air Force, and I did that for 2 years. So I'm an honorably discharged Air Force
truly a
vet.
cannabis-friendly organization.
Absolutely, somewhere to start. And when I was in the Air Force, I was a nutritionist. So when you fail your PT test, I was in charge of the Fat Boy program.
Hey there.
You're in the right place.
Hey,
These
but I'm
chairs
the nice
are
one.
screaming.
I'm the one you want to see. I'll break it to you nicely. I'll help you with the plan.
Actually, Pat, I'd hate to tell you, but they're not real guests. This is an intervention.
Who we, Kimosabe?
So when I was in the Air Force, I was Nutritional Medicine Airman of the Year 2009, and when I got out, I moved to California, and I became the manager at a collective in Northern California, Nature's Nexus. When I found out Question 3 was passing in Massachusetts, I decided to take all my knowledge, move home, and try to impart it. I needed a place to start, I needed a place to network, and I heard about New England Grassroots. So I went there, I met Mike and Melissa, and they saw that I was really motivated, I was really driven, so they gave me a small assignment, like, we're going to have you grade exams. Then they're like, hey, you're very articulate, you're very driven, let's have you teach the class for a couple hours, just do a little segment. And then from that, they're like, do you want to teach a course? And then from that, earlier today, I was on the panel. So it's great. So it takes people who want to grow, and they'll give you opportunities to grow and shine.
Super. Now, how did you get involved in the industry?
So I went to college for criminal justice. I got a job right out of college with the Milton Police Department as a police cadet, which is basically a glorified dispatcher for kids 18 to 25. Put you through this program and let you do some stuff and figure it out as you go. After about 2 years, I realized it just was not for me. I got involved with the school. I started as a student when they found out my background and where I stood, and they allowed me to come on with them and teach the law class for them.
Excellent. Now, how many different classes do you offer?
We have such a wide variety of classes. We have a staple 8-week basic seminar, and that's a great class because it covers absolutely everything about cannabis. The history, the political side. We talk about cultivating your own medicine, how to recognize good medicine, becoming a caregiver, laws, legality, how to cook, how to do tincture. So that touches on everything. I teach the women's basic holistic health and grow class, and that's a 6-week class, and that's more geared toward women in the industry. What are we going to do, empowering each other? And then we have a variety of day classes, like just a 1-day tincture class, just a 1-day grow room design, cooking, edibles, anything you want to learn about. We're really trying to make it available to our students, and our classes are rotating schedules, so the 8-week seminar and all the classes, they come up again and again, and once you take one of our classes, you're always grandfathered in. You can always just come back.
Nice, very nice. And in terms of, we had a conversation with a few other folks in the education side earlier. Is there a certificate program, or is there what can folks walk away from besides a lot of knowledge?
With New England Grassroots Institute, we have a program for our 8-week course and our women's grow course. And those are great because they help people get into the community, and it's wonderful for your resume and for networking because we've had over 1,000 students, and we've been here for 3 years. So we have friends at Canacare Docs, we have friends at ProVerdi, we have friends over at 1,000 Watts. So it's whatever you want to do, whatever your passion's into, we have the networking capability to get you in touch with the right people.
Now, an important point about your school, do you have a school mascot yet?
Huh?
Do you have a school mascot yet?
Probably a joint.
A football team? No?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
They're really
He's our
slow.
QB.
There you go.
In and out, and we don't mind.
Well, I was going to say, it's going to be interesting if you wake up with your local officer driving down the street, doing this. And
we invite them in. If a police officer is walking by and he kind of gives a look, we're like, come on in, come tour our entire facility, come ask us questions. Like, we're very open. We don't want people to see us and be like, oh, marijuana, I'm afraid. We want them to feel like they're invited to come in and ask as many questions. The more questions, the better, really.
Right. So, I would imagine, too, what dispels a lot of the myth is a lot of your students are probably really a cross-section of everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah. All different age and everything.
I was going to say youngest and oldest?
Our youngest student
16,
Probably,
I think.
yeah, 16.
Like right around 16. We had there was actually the class that I originally took. There was a kid who was 16 who came with his father who was in his 50s, and they did the course together.
And one of our older students, we have students in their 70s and 80s who they want to learn about medicine for the first time. They want to learn how to be caregivers. And it's great because no matter what walk of life you're at or like where you're at in life, we all have this very common goal and this common passion to make cannabis legal, to make it accessible for everyone, to make it safe for everyone, to educate everyone. What's cool about Mike and I is we got hired out of the class. So New England Grassroots gives you an opportunity that if you have something that you want to impart to people, we'll give you a stage. We'll let you flourish.
Yeah, that's great. Now, I mean, too, I would imagine, too, with the older folks in their 70s, 80s, a lot of their friends and family are dealing with glaucoma. They're dealing with, late onset cancer. They're, it's pain. They're dealing with everyday chronic pain management. Issues that hit that community the hardest, and yet at the same time, it's got to be brave of them to just kind of walk in and throw away 60 years or 70 years of prejudice. Really.
Yep, it is.
There's a definite paradigm shift that's happening within the United States where people are now looking at cannabis and they're not going, oh, it's just some kids getting high in their basement. They're like, that's medicine. And it's great that people are starting to recognize it as medicine, and they're starting to go, well, why is this plant illegal in the first place? Why don't we have legal cannabis? Why don't we have manufacture hemp as an alternative to plastic? Because hemp is a biodegradable plastic. So we not only like to talk about what we can do with cannabis, but we like to talk about what we can do with hemp. We like to talk about how can we better the environment, how can we better our own lives. Like my holistic health class, we talk a lot about encompassing mindfulness in your life, because I don't want you to just learn about pot and walk away. I want you to learn about your cannabis. I want you to learn about your medicine, but I also want to benefit your life. I want you to start practicing mindfulness. I want you to start thinking about, what am I eating? Could I make healthy decisions? Like, we want to better your entire life, and we want you to know that you're like part of our family, part of our community. Come on into New England Grassroots. Like, we love to have you, love to see you. What can you contribute? How can we contribute to you?
And with the older generations, a lot of this stuff that's coming out it's new. I mean, the plant's changed a lot since the 60s with all these new extracts and things like that. And a lot of these parents are coming in saying, well, my kid has this. What is that? And we actually get to educate them and show them and do it the right way of where this industry is actually going.
Interesting. In terms of the local medical community, have you seen much outreach from the medical community to take your classes?
Absolutely.
A lot of nurses.
Absolutely, because they don't. Our nurses, they're not getting the proper education that they need or that they want. So they come to us, and we're more than happy to help, because our nurses are finding that their patients are being prescribed marijuana, and the patients they go to CannaCare docs, Integrate. They're not going to their primary care because they're afraid to tell their primary care provider that they've had for 40 some odd years, like, hey Joe, I've started to use cannabis, because they don't want to be judged. So they'll come to us, and the nurses will want to learn about cannabis, because they want to be able to. The nurses and the doctors, they care so much about their patients that when their patient's like, hey, I just got diagnosed with cancer, I don't want your prescriptions, I want to use this Rick Simpson oil I heard about. The doctor's like, what is they care, they want to learn. So we care, and we want to educate them. We let a lot of our nurses come in for free. We've gone down to different hospitals, and we'll